Good afternoon, this is Mac Lacey with the Group Travel Leader, and I am at the Travel South Showcase in Charleston, West Virginia. I'm speaking with Tom White, and Tom is the Director of Sales and Outreach for the U.S. Space and Rocket Center in Huntsville, Alabama. And Tom, we'll talk about the Space and Rocket Center, but I also want to talk about Huntsville because it's a great town. First of all, as you know, I've been down there a couple times in the last few months because we'll be bringing our Select Traveler Conference down in about a month. We'll be using your facility for a opening evening event. And why don't we start with that? The facility we'll be using is the Saturn Hall. Is that the
Saturn V Hall? The
right.
Saturn V was the rocket that took man to the moon in the Apollo days. You'll be dining right underneath the historic national monument of one of the Saturn V's that was constructed to take man to the moon. And ours is the only one that's designated a National Historic Landmark. Designed and built in Huntsville, Alabama. It's a unique dining experience. We're going to have a great party underneath there with the live band, food from all around the world, and several people there. We're doing tours of behind the scenes of Space Camp, so you can see what families and students get to do while they're at Space Camp.
Yeah.
We have a really great event that night.
Well, now the Space and Rocket Center is, in terms of a single attraction in Alabama, you guys are the most visited attraction in the state.
Yeah, we're the #1 tourist attraction as a single attraction in the state of Alabama. And of the 11 NASA visitor centers that are across the country, we're the only NASA visitor center that is the #1 attraction within that state. So we're really proud to not only serve that as a NASA visitor center, but for the state of Alabama, but also serve as the regional science center for the Tennessee Valley and throughout the South. It's really an honor that we have.
I know that you do a lot of student age groups and student campers. I know there are a lot of kids that come through there. But here at Travel South Showcase, with the tour operators you've been meeting with, what kind of programs are you mostly putting in front of these people at Travel South Showcase?
Certainly with the Space and Rocket Center and being the home of Space Camp, student travel is obviously our foremost, our bread and butter, what drives us. But we have a lot of adult groups, a lot of family travel, senior groups who can come in and they can spend a whole day or a half a day at the Space Center and learn about the history of the space travel. Unique experiences, behind the scenes tour of the Marshall Space Flight Center. You can see the test launch sites from the Apollo days, as well as the Payload Operations Center of the Marshall Space Flight Center, which is the mission control for the International Space Station.
You mentioned to me earlier that there are some pretty exciting things moving forward 4 or 5 years from now. So give me a timeline for the next 4 or 5 years in terms of space exploration. What will be happening in Huntsville at your facility?
In Huntsville, when you say heavy lift, that's who we are. So we get really excited when you talk about deep space travel. The Saturn V rocket obviously took man to the moon in the Apollo days. So the SLS, the Space Launch System, with the new rocket will actually be taller and have more thrust capability than the Saturn V did, and it will have the Orion capsule, which will take astronauts on that. NASA's future endeavors are going to pursue more deep space travel, possibly to an asteroid, maybe back to the moon. Beyond that, maybe to Mars, and then continue to research start into the depths of the universe.
Huntsville itself, the city of Huntsville. I was very impressed with Huntsville, and in fact, it's my understanding that a lot of the military generals and a lot of the real technology leaders that come through Huntsville in their career decide to come back and retire there.
Yeah, the United States Army and other military industries obviously have a lot of research and development. The Army's Material Command, the Army Defense and Missile Command is based out of Huntsville, so they get a lot of the high-tech research and development military. And when they move there for their period of time, in some cases they retire out of Huntsville, or after they've retired, they decide to move back to Huntsville. It has such a great diverse community of people that are really international based. Moving there, the Bridge Street Town Center, the expansion of the Huntsville downtown, and what downtown Huntsville Incorporated with Chad Emerson and team, what they've been doing to change things in our downtown industry. A lot of great restaurants we have in Cotton Row in 1892. It goes on and on. It's a really a great experience, and the secret's out about Huntsville, Alabama. It's a great place to come visit and be, and a great place to move to.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Well, my guest has been Tom White. Tom is with the U.S. Space and Rocket Center in Huntsville, Alabama. And Tom, thanks for your time.
Thank you, sir. Always a pleasure.